It's been 9 months since Apple released MagSafe, one of the most standout features of the iPhone 12, and now that we've seen and tested a bunch of first and third-party accessories, as well as know the full details of charging performance and efficiency, is MagSafe a must-have killer feature in the future of iPhone and iPad that will replace wired charging ports, or is it just a gimmick that should have been left out in exchange for bigger batteries and lower prices? Well, to be honest, I think it is both depending on your use case. In some ways, I absolutely love it, and I don't know if I would ever want to go back to a phone without MagSafe, but on the other hand, it's also frustrating knowing how well it could have worked if Apple did it right. In this video, I will share my personal experience and thoughts on where Apple succeeded and where they just couldn't make it work the way they wanted to, and how that is going to affect the iPhone 13 and 14 as well as future iPads. Let's start out almost a year ago when the first leaks of Apple including magnets into the iPhone 12 popped up. People were really surprised by this and had a tough time wrapping their minds around why Apple would want a bunch of magnets looking like an arc reactor from Iron Man taking up space inside of their phone. A few people mentioned that it could help with lining up wireless chargers, which made some sense, but it ended up being much more than that. 2 months after that, at Apple's October event, they showed off the final product, and I have to say I was blown away. Now sure, the new design and faster and more reliable 5G antennas were exciting, and I was looking forward to the upgraded cameras, but we all expected those things, and Android phones already had all of that, but this was something completely new, different, and really promising. They showed off cases with magnets built in that easily attach to the iPhones, a sleeve with a small cutout on the display for time, a simple wallet that snapped and stuck right to your phone, the MagSafe Duo charger, also some third-party Belkin accessories, and of course the MagSafe Puck charger. We'll also talk about which of these are amazing and which ones have been a bit disappointing. Right away, Vadim made an Apple master plan video about how Apple had been planning this for a while and how MagSafe will be so good that people are going to want to upgrade for this reason, and it will keep more people tied into the ecosystem. So after 9 months, was Vadim right? Well, right away, our first experience was with Apple's case and MagSafe Puck before the iPhone 12s arrived. I bought the clear case, which is the only one where you can actually see the magnets, and started running some tests, which is where I broke my first finding on MagSafe that was published all over the internet. First off, the new iPhone 12 cases cost $10 more than before, so to buy a genuine Apple case, you now have to spend at least $49, so it definitely isn't cheap. Thankfully, we found that the magnetic connection with the Puck was decently strong, and the overall design seemed to be really nice to perfectly align the charger, but it's after that video where I started testing and found the first flaw in the system, and that was the charging rate for standard Qi devices. On Apple's MagSafe product page compatibility section, they listed that MagSafe can not only charge iPhone 12s, but also iPhone 11s, 10s, and even all the way back to the iPhone 8, as well as AirPods. And while this is technically true, MagSafe doesn't seem to be a beefed up Qi charger, because in real world speeds with these older devices as well as Android phones, I found that they only delivered between 1 to 3 watts of charging instead of the 15 watt MagSafe rating, or even the 7.5 watt standard slow wireless charging which we were expecting, and that's pretty slow. In fact, 7.5 watt wireless charging is noticeably slower than even the old 5 watt charging bricks that took forever, so if you use a MagSafe charger for your iPhone 11 Pro Max, it would take about 12.5 hours to charge compared to 2 hours with a wired fast charger, so it's no wonder that cases with MagSafe alignment magnets never caught on for the older iPhones. It seemed like MagSafe was brand new tech that might be much more efficient, and my only conclusion was that Apple had to put a separate Wii coil or section of the coil for regular Qi, but as we move on, you'll see that we now know that that is not really true. The promise of 15 watt wireless charging was very intriguing. When Apple finally added wireless charging to their phones, they only allowed 5 watt wireless charging at first until it was bumped up to 7.5 watts, where Android were already using 10 and even 15 watt wireless charging. I personally loved wireless charging and have used it since they added it, but there's always been those issues of proper alignment and speed. Because it was so slow, I only used wireless charging by my bed for overnight charging, but with that I was still having issues waking up and my phone would be completely dead. Most of the time, it would still show up as charging, but it wasn't perfectly aligned, so the charge rate was so slow that it was still draining or it would shut off after. MagSafe alignment has been amazing for this, and my phone is perfectly charged every morning. MagSafe alignment has been amazing for this, and my phone is perfectly charged every morning. And with the Puck, if you want to lay in bed and use the same charger, you can, unlike most wireless pads. As for the second part, charging speeds, I went in depth to see just how much faster Apple's 15-watt MagSafe charging was compared to standard 7.5-watt Qi charging. Charging speeds were definitely faster, especially at lower speeds, but not hitting that double speed as it would suggest based on the advertised wattage. And overall, it only charged 30 minutes faster than slow wireless charging and 15 minutes faster than a 5-watt charging brick. That's mostly because of how fast Apple tapers down that 15 watts down to 12.5 and then down to just 6 watts pulled from a 20-watt brick. But even with that, the other features of MagSafe made it amazing for me. I am somebody who always wanted a magnetic car mount, which some cases offered, but then you lost out on wireless charging, which I didn't want to do. Plus, I really prefer not having a case, making my phone thicker and covering all of the premium materials. MagSafe allowed both of those to be used at the same time. We ended up buying a ton of accessories to test, and some of them have been fantastic for me, and many aren't even true MagSafe, and I don't even mind. Here's why. One of the first was the wallet. It got a bunch of bad press at launch, but for me, it finally allowed me to keep a slim, tidy wallet because you couldn't overstuff it, and I finally got rid of that big wallet bulge. Plus, I could keep it attached to my phone if I ever was just wanting to throw it in a jacket or in one pocket if I needed to carry something else. I then got the Moft wallet, which isn't as nice or smooth on the back, but it is very flexible since it can hold one more card and they are much easier to get out. Plus, it can be used as a stand as well. The magnet strength was a little bit weaker though. About that, if you use a case, it does help a little bit, but not enough. I didn't try the crazy expensive sleeve since that seemed like a nightmare for those who use their phone often, but the dual charger seemed like an excellent idea, just not $130 plus having to add a $20 brick excellent. I bought a third-party one for much cheaper, and even though the magnets are weaker and you don't get the official 15-watt charging speed, I only use this for portable use, so all I have to bring with me is a USB Type-C charger that can handle my MacBook, and then this mat to be able to charge my Apple Watch and my iPhone. This has been awesome just to keep in my bag at all times because it's so small and portable, and I typically only use it overnight, so saving 30 minutes of charging time is negligible. Oh, and the official one doesn't even offer full 15 watts anyways. With that, for home use, I hesitantly dropped the money on Belkin's 3-in-1 charger that is really well made, and I don't regret it one bit. It has been the most reliable and useful wireless charger that I've ever bought, and it is so convenient to charge all of my devices. But for those of you guys who are on a budget, we also tested the third-party one that isn't as well made, but it still works great thanks to those MagSafe alignment magnets. And once again, the charging speed difference don't really matter. And in the car, I personally use 2 chargers, a cheap third-party one that comes with everything you need in my truck, and a puck holder in our Tesla. Both work great and hold the iPhone without any issues, and although I thought the much more expensive official version would be much better, it's not really, and here's why. When Apple showed off the insides of the coil, they made it sound very special and new, but in real-world use, efficiency doesn't really seem to be that much better. My biggest issue with it is heat and my phone dimming when I'm using my GPS or even other apps with wireless charging using the MagSafe connection. And even though Apple cuts down wattage very early with MagSafe, and their coil is supposed to be more efficient, we don't really see it in the real world. Both technologies put out a lot of heat, and the iPhone doesn't really deal with heat very well because they don't have any cooling tech built in like Android phones do. And that brings us to the magnetic battery banks. And you guys have probably seen that I wasn't very happy with Apple's solution. While waiting for this, we all expected MagSafe speeds that could hit 15 watts even if it was brief, but instead we are limited to 5 watts just like with regular Qi, and it's actually slower than many third-party options. With that, there are also a ton of limitations on when it will actually even charge. What this shows us is that Apple's current coil and cooling tech isn't much better than much older Qi solutions, and now we actually have proof. Chinese Qi battery packs have an efficiency of a low 45%, which is combined from the losses of wireless charging and pulling from batteries, and Apple's solution is 55%. Because of this, even though Apple makes great looking accessories, in terms of actual performance, third-party solutions can come close to or even better than what Apple is offering. And with that, to answer the question if this will replace Lightning ports soon, I think that Apple is still planning on that, but it will take a lot longer than they hoped. To me, the biggest reason why is because the battery pack was released 9 months after launch of the phones, where most companies would want to launch it right away to get the most sales when people are buying brand new devices with exciting new tech they're excited about, and then also during the holidays, since other people can gift those packs to people that just drop the money and can make use of that. The way they released them out of the blue and so much later makes it seem like they've been working on it for a long time and they just couldn't get it right and had to settle on slow 5-watt wireless charging and just get the thing out there before the next iPhone's launch. Most people expected it to be able to be charged by MagSafe either with 2 coils or just from the one, but it can't, and it obviously has the tech and it unlocks reverse wireless charging, but only on the iPhone 12, and it is insanely slow. Your main charging is from a lightning cable, and that pretty much guarantees that the upcoming iPhone 13 and likely the iPhone 14 are also going to stick with lightning. Just like AirPower, Apple has big ambitions for MagSafe, but because of thermals and efficiency, it just isn't performing as well as they had hoped, which is why power gets limited so much and so quickly. We do have rumors of a bigger coil in upcoming iPhones, so maybe Apple is upgrading that, as well as stronger magnets, which could tackle both of the biggest issues. Let's just hope that efficiency goes up as well. The magnetic alignment tech is fantastic and I absolutely love it, and we already have copies of it from Chinese brands, but those include a fan to fix the heat issue and allow for faster charging, but of course Apple would never do such a thing. Until Apple can fix that, even with all of the efforts they've made, there is no way that wireless charging can take over wired and they can get rid of the Lightning port. As a supplemental, very convenient charging accessory, sure, but Apple's tech is nowhere close enough to make it a primary option. With that, although the charging tech is a bit of a fail compared to advertising and specs, the magnetic aspect is definitely the future, and I'm excited to see where Apple could take it in the next few years. Thank you guys for watching. Click that circle above to subscribe if you guys want to see more videos like this one. Check out one of those ultimate tests right over there. This has been Max, and I will see you in the next video.